Peace and love, family. This is Noble Kadeem Hananai Mishael. All rights reserved, without prejudice. UCC 1-308, 9-311. And today I just want to show you guys the difference between a trust and a corporation. Now, as you know, there's several different kinds of entities out there that people do business with and in and out of limited liability companies, corporations, S corps, C corps, estates, trusts, etc. Now, we're gonna go over some of the advantages of a trust versus a corporation. If you ever decide to do business and need a proper vehicle to do business in. So as you know, we deal with the trust and setting up the trust estate for the individual, and the individual can then go on to create other entities under his trust. And a corporation is a good vehicle to use, but there is liabilities and there is limitations that come with incorporating. The state is given the power to regulate the corporation by way of registration and giving up of the title. So this is why when you have a trust and it's private, you create a private registration number for your trust. But that's a little more detailed. So let's get into it, family. Express trust versus corporation. So first, I must clarify that though I am referring primarily to corporations included in the reference are all organizations which owe their existence to legislative acts, not limited to limited liability companies, limited partnerships, agencies, co-partnerships, etc., which, though not classified as corporations, avail themselves of benefits, privileges, and franchises of the state for their very creation and existence. Second, since we have already shown the distinct juridical personality of the trust as a legal entity, we will not re-examine it until we consider its personality under the Roman civil law of the 14th Amendment in a later section. But it must be noted the well-settled law that the express trust is a lawful, legal, valid business organization. I repeat, the express trust, lawful, legal, valid business organization possessed of the right to hold property and sue in its business name. And its uses in modern business have some of their strongest roots in England, Germany, and many of the United States, where it has been recognized for its superiority and even praised by such notable authorities as the Ohio Supreme Court for its effectiveness in the business of life insurance. So you can put life insurance in your trust. If you want to find out more about how you can do that, contact us. We can help you. The declaration of trust has been held to be an effective substitute for incorporation. I repeat, the declaration of trust has been held to be an effective substitute for incorporation for its many advantages, which will undoubtedly shine though to the reader by the following table. I have prepared this table based upon the work by John H. Sears, who, after discussing the impact of the twin landmark cases on the grave lack of profitability of using corporations for inter alia dealing in real estate, went to task in outlining the distinct benefits of express trust. And the works by William C. Dunn, Guy A. Thompson, and Sidney R. Wrightington, Mr. Sears says, the decision of the United States Supreme Court holding that the express trusts are not subject to the federal excise tax on corporations has emphasized this method of conducting business as compared with corporations. The best legal talent was soon impressed into the service of devising a means of affording the usual advantages belonging to a corporation without the authority of any legislative act, a method of placing the property into the hands of trustees who hold the legal title and issued certificates similar to shares of stock to the Sistitute Trust, showing the interest owned by each possessed nearly all the advantages desired. This excluded the use of limited liability companies, joint stock associations, and co-partnerships, which are organized under enabling statutes which merely enlarge the privileges possessed at common law, and they are therefore subject to state regulations, which may be equally burdensome to those imposed on corporations. All right. So let's read some of these footnotes. The lawfulness of the express trust is obvious. However, the allegation to the contrary has often been made in the past and is occasionally made by the ignorant nowadays. Among the long list of precedents confirming its lawfulness is Palmer et al. Versus Taylor et al. There was no class of business, the transaction of which as a matter of private right was better recognized at common law than that of making contracts of insurance upon the lives of individuals. Right? Now, we're going to quickly go over, again, express trust versus corporation. Lifespan of 20 to 25 years at a time in order to avoid rule against perpetuities. Death of grantor has no effect on life or affairs of trust. Governed under equity. Trust law is most settled body of law in America. Limited liability of trustee determined by trust instrument. In any given contract, only property in hands of trustee is answerable. Right to exercise Fifth Amendment, not subject to subpoena. Business name protected by injunction. May use trade name or trademark for legitimate purposes versus a corporation. Perpetual or certain number of years. In most cases, legislative requirements govern. They're also governed under statute, forever subject to burdens of inquisitorial legislation. Corporate officers personally liable for all ambiguous endorsements. Must answer in legislative court for all acts. Must apply for and secure fictitious firm name and must register all trade names and trademarks. So there you have it, family. A trust versus a corporation. They already treat you like a corporation. Your instruments that you use to identify with, such as a driver's license, passport, etc., social security card, birth certificate, any one of those instruments, those identify corporations. And so this is why the corporation is governed under statute and is forever subject under the 14th Amendment, because corporations are created under the 14th Amendment. And even though, and as you can see, it was cleared up about, the presumption of trust being corporations, classified as corporations, but they're not. They're considered natural persons, and they're created under common law. So there you have it, family. Express trust versus corporation. I would suggest setting up a trust versus a corporation, or even an LLC, because you have more power to contract. You can keep things more private. You're not governed under statute or any of those fictitious policies. And you can do business just like a corporation can. And if you want, you can then later place a corporation under your trust, or an LLC under your trust, and operate with those vehicles, but in a foreign capacity. And so, there you have it, family. Again, this is Noble Kadeem Hananai Mishael. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and look out for updates. Peace and love. Ashe.